Good afternoon, this is Jeff with Sewer Tech Northwest. We're at 9232 Southwest Martha Street here in Tigard. Located just to the left of the front door. Right in the patio here, we have a 3-inch ABS cleanout. We're very near this front left corner of the house. We're going to check the overall condition and serviceability of the sanitary sewer line. Water is running. We're going to zero out here at the base of the cleanout, and off we go. It looks like we just bumped out to 4-inch right there. It's a very common spot for that to happen. We'll get a better look though as we come out. When the line's fully drained. Sometimes you get a joint that's just a little bit wonky, and it'll kind of create the illusion of that. And quite a clean sewer line thus far. Very little buildup. Grease buildup most notably. That's kind of the main culprit that gunks up lines. And after 25,000 scopes, or near that anyway, and a lot of drain cleaning I've done over the years, grease buildup is a very common contributing factor to blockages occurring. Yeah, it's definitely 4-inch because now we're making a flush transition, it looks like there, to 3034, which is always 4-inch diameter minimum, and it looks like we're going back into, now we're into concrete pipe. A little bit of a settled spot there just after the repair transition. Looks like a spot repair was done there. We'll take a look at that on the way out and see how that's looking. The concrete pipe in general here looks like it's got some level of standing water, but my camera's kind of riding up on the sidewall right now, so we'll see how that looks when it drains off. The camera's kind of orienting a little weird as it goes down the pipe there. And then there's the main at 64 feet. Now we're going to go locate really quick here while the pipe drains off, then we'll have a better look at things as we come back out. Alright, did locate the camera head. Line runs pretty darn straight on out to the street. Makes its way out of the road through the front yard area. I did put a reference marking down at the street curb. I'm sorry, not the street curb, middle of the road, using a white T marking. It's a pretty shallow main. It's only about 5 foot 9 inches deep, which is quite shallow. Your average main lateral out in the street is usually around the 8 foot deep mark. So we'll see how this thing drains out here in just a second. All right, line's fully drained here at this point. We're going to start reeling back in. We had a toilet upstairs. I think it's the master bedroom. Could not figure out why the water wasn't stopped running. That flapper in that toilet does not appear to shut off all the way. It was putting a huge amount of water down the pipe, which may have been what made this concrete pipe look like it may have had standing waters. Originally I thought I just had a sink running. In reality, that toilet upstairs was dumping probably a bathtub's worth of water down the line. So like right here you have some extremely subtle minor standing. I mean, it's not, this right here may not even actually be standing water. There's maybe a 32nd of an inch there, but it takes a teeny tiny bit of grease in the flow line, any amount of debris, to cause that little bit of water there to sit. So, and that's not the kind of stuff I would ever recommend you fix anyhow. You can see there's no buildup in it. I would not expect to see any to begin with. So you do have a little bit of an offset right there. And that's related to the whatever repair was done. There's a Y that comes in right here. I'm going to keep my eyes peeled as we come back in. In fact, I'm going to go mark that really quick. The offset, in my opinion, especially the distance it is from the home, my camera goes over this with ease. I don't even have to, I'm pushing my camera just as subtly here as I am anywhere else. It goes over it very smoothly. You have maybe a 1/4 of an inch offset. It hits right at the base of my camera lens. There's no buildup to speak of in the line here. I don't see any evidence of dirt coming to the pipe joints. That spot repair there looks like it's settled a little bit when they did the repair. The Y connection coming into the side here, my guess is a test Y. I'm going to go locate and see where that's at, and I will mark that. Party lines in this part of town and this age are quite uncommon. I'm not sure I've ever seen one before, but I'm going to go at least mark it and notate on the report. Typically a test connection comes into the top of the pipe, but some do come in You'll get horizontal Ys and even sometimes Ys that come in at the base of a drop, basically in the flow line area on a turn. They're just less common, and they're the kind of thing I at least want to call out of an abundance of caution. That's kind of weird. I am not getting even the slightest locate signal where I'm sitting at right now. It's kind of it's not a very deep sewer line. I'm going to try something here really quick. I'm going to reset my system. Alright, let's see if this helps at all. I may have to go back and review the video for the exact footage, but I'm wondering if something glitched out here. Yep, well, that was the issue there. So there's if you walk pretty much straight out from the clean out access to the sidewalk, you'll see there's a very obviously new square of concrete. You'll see a very small white Y marking on that. I didn't want to go painting the heck out of the concrete there, because most likely it's just a test Y. Anyway, a little bit of settling occurred there. In my opinion, not significant enough to warrant repairs. Especially, I don't see any signs that the joint is compromised in some significant manner. Generally speaking, if you got a joint that's open to the ground, the line's going to make it pretty obvious. You're going to have, you know, dirt streaks and or just straight up dirt clods sticking out of the pipe wall, earthworms crawling around. It's fairly obvious when the joint's open. And being that there's not even buildup there or anything I could even recommend you drain clean, tearing that back out of the ground there does not make sense to me. Especially for an offset that's only about 1/4 of an inch. Someone just did a toilet flush there a second ago. That's where that water's coming from there. I'm going to go kind of slow here for just a moment. Some of these toilets take a minute to completely bleed all the water off. Oh, here comes another one. And all that water there is moving. If we hit standing water, even with it running, the camera will dive underwater. Let the big rush get past us here. And then as far as, you know, keeping your line clean goes, I try to give this little PSA to everybody. Grease and cooking oil, fats in general going down your kitchen sink or drain are by far the most common thing to get built up in a line. And it makes a significant difference to how well your line functions. It makes it much more forgiving too. When improper stuff does go down line, or when kids flush 12 balled up pieces of toilet paper down the line. You want to, you know, anytime you've got enough grease or oil on your pans, that if you turn that pan sideways, it runs off the pan in beads or worse. It's at that point you want to, you know, pour it out into a glass jar or coffee, or, you know, metal coffee can, or let it cool down and scrape it off into a garbage can or wipe it out with a paper towel. Thin little coating of Pam spray is no big deal. Hot water and soap handles that. When you know some amount is getting down line, ideally you always use hot water and soap. And one of the keys to helping make sure that if some does get down the line, to help mitigate it, let your hot water run at you know, full as hot temperature as it gets for about 30 seconds to a minute after your last dish was scrubbed off. That helps to ensure that anything that did get down the line remains melted and emulsified till it gets to the main. If you shut that water off right after you wash that dish, while it'll stay hot through the crawl space area, once you get underground on the outside, it cools off very quickly. So anyway, we have good flow all the way to the main lateral connection. Again, the Y connection there, I didn't see any other obvious Ys. I will review the video one more time. I may not even put a recommendation to check into that, but I don't see any other Y connections. As I review that, it's just going to be a test Y connection, and it's about where I would expect to see one in the right-of-way area. Otherwise, the little offset there at about 38 feet just past the Y is too minor, in my opinion, to require repairs. Zero buildup. It's about a 1/4 inch offset, and I'll say that's about 39 feet the transition. Anyhow, sewer line is functioning properly at this time.